Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our Upward Scholars Bridges the Bay event. We are live streaming to our Upward Scholars YouTube channel and recording this event as well. Please note that everyone else is muted to avoid background or competing noise. Por acompañarnos esta tarde en nuestro evento Upward Scholars Conecta la Bahía. Estamos transmitiendo en vivo en el canal de YouTube de Upward Scholars y también grabando este evento. Todos están en mudo para evitar conflicto de sonido. Si necesita interpretación de inglés a español, favor de hacer clic en el botón de icono del globo que aparece en la parte de abajo de su pantalla y seleccione la opción de inglés a español. Gracias a Luis y Brenda, estudiantes del programa de Upward Scholars, por ayudarnos con la interpretación esta tarde. Thank you to Luis and Brenda, Upward Scholars Habla Más Spanish coaches, for providing interpretation services this afternoon. And English speakers, please note you do not need to select the interpretation feature at all. And with that, I am Dr. Linda Prieto, Executive Director of Upward Scholars, and I also want to give a special welcome to our new partners with the Northern Alameda Adult Education Collective, including the Peralta Community College District, our planning committee for all the behind-the-scenes efforts, and our other speakers this afternoon. Now, a little bit about myself. As a daughter of undocumented immigrants who left Mexico to give their children a better life, I grew up working alongside them and my siblings in the agricultural fields of the Central San Joaquin Valley here in California during the 1980s and early 1990s. My family taught me difficult and valuable lessons through their words, actions, and expressions, lessons that I carry to this day in my role as Executive Director of Upward Scholars. Their expressions of love provided physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental nourishment that contributed to my academic success in the classroom. My mom struggled to send us to school looking our best every day. So although our clothes might have been secondhand, our attitudes were first class. Even though I had classmates then who refused to play with me because my clothing didn't match, our appearance characterized quiet, hardworking students and was well received by our principal and teachers. I share these early memories with you today because it fills my heart with joy and great satisfaction and gratitude to know that little girl who feared her parents would be taken from her every day is here with you today, paying forward actually all those opportunities that have been bestowed upon me. And now I am raising my own son, Guillermo, to also embrace a life of servant leadership. I first moved to the Bay Area over 25 years ago to attend Stanford and earn a bachelor's degree in sociology, then a master's degree in education from Harvard, and finally a PhD in education from the University of Texas at Austin. As Executive Director of Upward Scholars since the end of 2018, it is my great pleasure to help our adult immigrant students gain economic mobility so they too can break the cycle of poverty and experience multi-generational impact. As we continue with our program today, please add any comments and questions that are appropriate in the chat, and I'll lift some questions from there for our Q&A portion at the end of our time together. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our three other panelists today. They are first, Diana Viscarra, Upward Scholars alum and Upward Scholars Special Programs Manager. Next, we have Midhun Joseph, Berkeley City College Project Manager and Transitions Liaison. And finally, one of our most recent Upward Scholar students from Berkeley City College, Samsul Sheikh. Before we hear from them, I'll provide some context on Upward Scholars for any of you who are joining us for the very first time. Upward Scholars was established in 2010, partnering with one adult school, the Sequoia Adult School, and feeding into one college, Cañada College. Upward Scholars is the only nonprofit in the Bay Area providing financial, academic, career development, and holistic support to adult immigrants struggling with economic hardship, so they can transition from adult schools to community colleges and gain economic mobility. When we began over a decade ago, we first provided 2 pillars of support: financial and academic support to adult immigrants studying at Cañada College. At the end of 2018, when our founder, Elizabeth Wheel, stepped down and I became the first executive director, I was the only full-time employee with an Upward Scholars student providing part-time support. Our first phase of scaling then was to reach all 5 adult schools and the 3 community colleges across San Mateo County. And we successfully did that with the support of so many of you on this call today. 2020 marked both the 10-year anniversary of Upward Scholars and the onset of the pandemic. We quickly learned it was critical to stretch and provide both an increase and a depth of support and services to keep our students enrolled and working towards their goals. 2 years later, we now have 4 pillars of support: financial, academic, career development, and holistic support. Since 2010, we've served more than 1,100 students so they can achieve upward mobility. And now our team includes 5 full-time and 1 part-time staff. And at least half of the team is either a current or former Upward Scholar student. The pandemic hit our community of students the hardest. So we stepped up with our family support to strengthen our focus on increasing economic mobility. Last year, 7 students started businesses during the pandemic with our support through the Move Up initiative. And 7 Habla Más Spanish language coaches continue actively working and earning family sustaining wages as Spanish language coaches. As a result of our collective work, students continue their education, get higher paying jobs, and serve as role models and advocates for their children and our community at large. For Upward Scholars, our students faced and continue to face many challenges. Due to COVID, more than 80% of our students reported loss of employment, wages, housing, and food insecurity, challenges with their overall physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health, increased domestic violence, and escalated discrimination. Overall, 50% of them have yet to recover. The severity of the situation caused many to be pushed out of the area altogether. So then, in 2020, we also began working on our current strategic plan. And it was then that we included our next phase of scaling. Our current strategic plan calls for us to research our existing reach across San Mateo County to then determine if we were ready to scale beyond county lines. And if so, where might we scale next? So although the strategic plan called for us to begin the research this year, 2022, we actually stretched even further and began that research last summer. And now, to share with you about both her story and the scaling research we began last summer is our own Diana Viscarra. Diana?
Thank you, Linda. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I would like to start by saying a bit about who I am and how I got here. So unlike most of my peers in Upward Scholars, I was blessed to born in the United States. But when I was 8 months old, my family and I took a trip to Mexico to visit our extended family. Unfortunately, while we were visiting, my father died unexpectedly. My mother suddenly found herself alone with 6 children. She never had the opportunity to finish elementary school, and she totally depended on my father's income. So under the circumstances, she decided to stay in Mexico with our extended family. At the age of 18, without the opportunity to study a career for a better future in Mexico, I returned to the United States. Alone, and I faced many challenges since I did not speak English. A few years later, I met and married my husband, and I moved to San Mateo County, where I still live with my family. After my second daughter was born, I realized that besides providing for my family, I was not doing anything to improve my life in the long term. My daughters revived in me the desire to continue my education. Thanks to them, I began pursuing my GED at Sequoia Adult School, thinking that with it, I could be promoted at the fast food restaurant where I worked. After obtaining my GED, I transferred to Kenyatta College, and thanks to the advice and support of Upper Scholars, I started to think about the possibility of pursuing a career. Upper Scholars gave me hope for a better life and broadened my horizons. One day, while working at the restaurant, one of my daughters told me that she wanted to work in the same place as me one day. I was shocked to hear that. I wanted a better future for them. So this inspired me to do more, not only for myself, but also for my daughters. And despite all my fears and insecurities, I went into the paralegal program at Kenyatta College. In the spring 2019, our scholars helped me to get an internship with the Immigration Institute of the Bay Area at the Fairfax Community Center in Redwood City. I immediately told my husband, bring my daughters to the office. I want them to see me in a professional space, working behind a desk using a computer. That May, I graduated with honors from the paralegal program, and I continued my journey in the political science field as a transfer student at San Francisco State, where I'm currently completing my bachelor's degree and plan to graduate this May. During the summer 2019, I also started working part-time as a student fellow at Upper Scholars. My experience as a recipient of the program allowed me to contribute a student perspective into all the programs and services we offer. I know what students go through, so I am able to make sure that what we are doing is aligned with our students' experiences, time, and needs. I love being able to serve my community and continue inspiring my fellow students to keep working hard every semester. In June 2020, I was promoted to part-time program coordinator. And in less than a year, in February 2021, I was brought to full-time. With this new opportunity, with our scholars, I was able to afford to move my family of 4 from 1-bedroom apartment to 2-bedroom duplex. And we even adopted a dog, my daughter's dream. Last July, I was promoted yet again to speak to a special program manager. And with this new position came new horizons to explore. One of the most important assignments as a special program manager was to find potential partnerships to allow us to expand the organization outside San Mateo County. This was a great experience. First, I identified our school students who moved outside San Mateo County due to the pandemic and let them know about our expansion project, so we could continue providing support as they transition to their local community colleges. During the next phase of the scaling project, we map out all the surrounding counties in the Bay Area: Alameda, Contra Costa, San Francisco, Santa Clara. Then we identified community college districts and adult schools within each county. We filter for those with ESL program and which serve adult immigrants from low-income households. After that, we also identified possible main contacts and got started. I like to say that we made a lot of noise because we had several meetings with potential partners from all of these counties, and Northern Alameda Adult Education Collective was fully on board since day one. They not only were the first ones to respond to us, but they also consistently communicated with us and introduced us to their partners. We presented to their executive cabinet in early fall of last year, and we were approved, which include the signing of a memorandum of understanding by the end of the year. This spring, we are excited to be serving students enrolled in the Peralta Community College District, which consists of 4 community colleges: Berkeley City College, Mary College, College of Alameda, and Lani College. Today, we have 12 students from the area enrolled in Upper Scholars, and I cannot wait for us to see how Upper Scholars continue growing. I know our work will also have positive impact on the lives of my fellow students in Northern Alameda. Thank you all for allowing me to share my history, my journey, and how excited this expansion is for me personally, but also for our scholars as a whole. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce Berkeley City College Project Manager in Transition Liaison, Midhun Joseph. Prior to work with Berkeley City College, Midhun worked in higher education over the last 16 years, including at the University of San Francisco, UC Berkeley, and Stanford, focusing primarily on the recruitment and retention of first-generation students and those from low-income households into higher education. As a transition liaison, Midhun is an integral part of the adult education program at Berkeley. His duties includes working with adult students, transitioning from adult school and community-based organizations to community college. Thank you for joining us, Midhun. Can you talk a bit about your experience referring students to us?
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Diana. That was amazing. I echo many people from the chat as well as everybody here. Just to hear your story of where you started and where you are, it's just amazing. And for me, as somebody working in education, it's the core of the work that we do is to support students that are in similar paths to you. So thank you, first of all, for sharing your story. That was awesome. Yeah, it's been amazing for us. We're a new partnership, like Diana said. It's our first semester referring students to Upward Scholars. We're only referring a small subset of the 370 or so students that I work with in my program. I run the adult education office at Berkeley City College. Most of our students transition from our adult schools as well as community-based organizations to Berkeley City College or one of the other 4 community colleges. So this first semester, I think we referred about 25 students, and we're in the process of getting a lot of them enrolled in Upward Scholars. I think for us, it was a very easy process for us in terms of the referral. I've been able to work directly one-on-one with Diana in referring our students, where I give Diana the list of students that I've talked with who might be interested, and then they fill out the application, go through the orientation. But I think one of the things that is a highlight for us in referring students is really the financial, academic, career development, as well as emotional development for our students. These are key barriers for retention for us. My goal in my program is not just to get students into college, but to really make sure that they either get their certificate, transfer, or get a job at the end. And these key components are key factors in making sure that these students are retained and are successful in what their ultimate goal is. So it's been, I think that's been kind of our motivating factor in having a key partner in supporting our students, much like the story of Upward Scholars. I'm a one-person operation with some student workers that are helping me out. So in terms of providing some of these support services that many of our students might not qualify for because they might be asylum pending or undocumented or have a status that does not allow them to get any grants either from the state or from federal government. So we're happy to see that Upward Scholars is able to provide some of that. So it's been a smooth process for us so far. We're actually already talking about how we can make the process easier for our students. And also, this is the first time a lot of our students heard about Upward Scholars. So a lot of the students were, oh, we don't know what they're really about, and had a little bit of apprehension. So we're really looking at ways to make that more of a smoother handoff. Perhaps doing an orientation together where I do a smooth handoff of some of the students who are applying to Diana.
Thank you, Minha, for sharing. Can you talk about who or adult immigrant students are from Northern Alameda County and a little bit of the services that they receive now?
Yeah, so a good number of my students are asylum pending students. I have about 48 to 50 students who are asylum pending. I have about 38 students who are concurrently enrolled, which means that they're enrolled in one of the high school programs at the adult school, as well as the community college at the same time. So they're getting credits for their high school program as well as credits for college at the same time. I have a good number of my students who I mentioned previously before that might not qualify for anything beyond the California Promise Grant in terms of support services that are available to them, whether it's because they're a part-time student or they don't qualify for the aid for one reason or another. So in terms of our student population, we work with around 370 or so adult students each semester. And a lot of them actually are starting off. We have a few different bridge programs that we've built out in non-credit. So a lot of we have about 125 of our students in our non-credit programs. Those are programs in ESOL for English for speakers of other languages. We have a program in community health work, as well as we have a program in multimedia arts. Non-credit programs, for those who don't know, these are programs that are completely free, so no tuition. It doesn't matter if you've been in California for 1 year or not. It doesn't matter your documentation status. None of that matters. All your tuition, everything is free. And these programs help build up skill sets needed for you to transition into credit-bearing programs. So a good number of our students are enrolled in those non-credit programs and then hopefully transitioning into credit programs as well. So I've been in my position for about 5 years now. We started off also as a brand new program. So over the years, we've built those relationships and established those partnerships with our community-based organizations, as well as our adult school partners to make those relationships, those transitions happen.
Thank you. So how do our programs and services help your students at Berkeley?
Yeah, I think a couple of barriers that are hard for my students is like, one, for example, is ways to buy books. So like we have a book voucher program that's been super helpful for those students, especially our concurrent students who, for example, might not qualify for any of the grants, or our undocumented students who might not be getting any federal grants, and their state grants might be limited, as well as our asylum pending students who only get the California Promise fee waiver, but not any grants. So like access to buying book usually means that they have to take money out of their own pockets to do it. And our book vouchers, both in our program and also at college, is very limited. So that's been like probably the biggest resource that the students have been able to access through Upward Scholars. But I'm also really looking forward to other connections, especially the academic support programs, the conversation clubs, or and also like the emotional support. I think those are also key components that as our students get more involved and more connected with Upward Scholars, I hope they utilize those resources as well in the future. I mean, our critical areas are probably the book vouchers, the transportation vouchers, I forgot as well, as well as some of the emotional and conversational support programs that Upward Scholars offer.
Great, thank you for sharing, Midhun. We are so thankful to have you, as you know, to have this partnership with the whole Alameda County District. Yeah, okay. So let me now let me introduce someone else that it brings me with my great joy to introduce someone who is in someone who will definitely exemplifies our new expansion and partnership. Upward Scholar student from Berkeley City College, Samsul Sheikh. Welcome, Samsul.
Hey, thank you so much for giving me the floor to share my story. Hello, everyone. This is Samsul Sheikh, and I'm currently located in Berkeley, California. I go to Berkeley City College with a major of computer science and engineering. So myself, many of you as a Upward Scholar, I'm also an immigrant who speaks English as a second language. Immigrant from Bangladesh, that's a South Asian country a few years back. I can really understand how difficult it was to have a language barrier when you first come to this country and you have to take some ESL lessons. When I first arrived here, I also had to take some ESL lessons to become fluent and learn English as my second language. But I'm fortunate that I have some exposure to English when I was in elementary school. So it doesn't take time for me to catch up. But after having some few years, now I can say I managed to have a meaningful conversation. However, but I see my parents and family struggling for the language barrier, in their day-to-day life. So being an immigrant, working part-time, attending school full-time, that was really difficult for me at the very first time. I didn't know how to complete my study, what roadmap I should follow for my education. I keep seeking help from my college, from my counselor, and somehow I managed to pass like one of my first year. Recently, my counselor Midhun, who just spoke earlier, he recommended me to apply in Upward Scholar earlier this year, and because they're expanding their territory in Alameda County. And I'm glad that I did, and I become part of this wonderful community. I get to know that they offer everything from book expenses to even parking for campus parking. I believe this would be the finest program available for students who are newcomer to this country or who don't have access to financial aid, or as well as who require some assistance with career options or educational plan. I find this Upward Scholar program super helpful. As I go through the orientation slide, I told myself might be the thing I need when I was first come to this country. I'm a little bit disappointed that I was introduced to such beautiful things before, but I'm glad that I'm finally exposed to it. And I appreciate how they take the time to talk with each and every individual and give them the space to advocate for themselves. I also appreciate how concerned they are about the students' mental health. And also I like their tutoring offering services. Overall, I would like to repeat myself once again. Upward Scholar is a trustworthy program that offers every possible assistance you see to succeed in your life. And they don't want anything from you, but they only want you to succeed. And once again, I'm so happy to be here with all of you to share my story and my experience with this great program, and also to represent first group of Upward Scholar in Northern Alameda County. Thank you so much for bearing with me. And now I would like to pass over my mic to Linda, the Executive Director of Upward Scholar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samsul. It's such a pleasure to hear from you directly. And, our community knows that our best ambassadors are always our students. So not only do I recognize it's taking a lot for you to trust us, right? As Midhun mentioned earlier, right? Like, why should students trust us who we're in a new space where we've never been before? So thank you for trusting us. And then thank you for being so brave to come forward today and to share your story with all of us. It means so much to me personally. So I very much appreciate that. And Midhun, you guys have made that partnership so smooth. You were probably like your students back last summer when we were like, trust us, this is all real. And so it's super important that you're able then to convey that trust that you now have in us to the students coming into the program as well. So just wonderful to be working alongside you as well. And I'm so happy to hear you already have ideas for how we can continue to make the process even easier and run more smoothly. So looking forward to hearing those ideas. Everyone, who's on the call, as I mentioned earlier, definitely want to take some questions. I have some that have been coming directly to me, but I'll take another look at the chat as well to see if I have any more populated. And if not, I think actually the first question I have is for you, Samsul. So folks would like to know, you said you're pursuing a degree right now in computer science. So what is your dream job?
That's a loaded question, I would say, because computer science, that's a vast department and field, but I have my interest in cybersecurity and also cloud computing, because I feel like the whole world is moving to cloud computing. So I have my focus on cloud computing and cybersecurity. That should be my preferable job in the future.
I'm writing it down because we are so happy to have our Upward Scholars family be so large that you never know, right, how we can help to make those connections happen. So cybersecurity and cloud computing, I've got it. Thank you, Samsul. And then with that, Midhun, actually the next question is for you. Someone is asking for clarification. What does it mean to be an asylum pending immigrant? And what countries are your students coming from?
Yeah, so asylum pending means that you're in you've seeked out asylum and asking the United States to stay here as a permanent resident, or you'll work towards your pathway to becoming a permanent resident. It's usually a status that is if you were persecuted in your country for your sexual orientation, your religious beliefs, your ethnicity. So it's for anybody that's been persecuted in their home country for any reason. There's a whole list of qualifying reasons, but you're in the process of asking the United States government for asylum. It's a long process. Many of my students have been waiting 3, 4, 5 years waiting for asylum. They recently, in the last few years, gave you get an employment authorization while you wait. And in the state of California, as long as you've been in asylum pending status for more than 1 year, you can get in-state tuition and also qualify for the fee waiver, which this California promise. So you can go to community college for, depending on your income from 2 years ago, you could go to community college for free, as long as you've been asylum pending for 1 year. So it's been, the reason why I have a large asylum pending population is there's a good number of our community members who are asylum pending in the Bay Area, but also word of mouth. I helped in the community college district. This knowledge wasn't really that well known in terms of policy, in terms of getting in-state tuition. So we pushed for that to be accepted in terms of after 1 year you get in-state tuition, and we helped write that into the board policy in Peralta. So there's been a lot of word of mouth amongst the community of like, hey, like it's a rule all across California, but in terms of the ESA process, we've made that easier for students to get asylum pending status, be recognized and get their in-state tuition and continue their education. Linda, what was the second part of that question?
So the second part of the question is, what are some of maybe the top countries that your students are coming from. You know, here in San Mateo County, where we've been serving to date, the majority of our students are coming to us from throughout Latin America. And so I think people are trying to understand how that mix might change with this new partnership.
Yeah, I would say my number one, Eritrea, Ethiopia, would be probably my number one student population. We have a good number of our students coming from also China, as well as from Latin America and South America. Brazil, I would say, actually would be, in terms of South America, the number one country. And then in terms of Central America, I would say El Salvador as the number one country in terms of students coming from. So it's a good mix. The average age of students that I work with is around 34. It's a good age range that I work with. So technically I work with anybody that don't come right out of high school. So either have taken time off or have gotten their GED recently, or are coming back to get their GED and continue on with their high school, their college education.
And that's wonderful because it really nicely mirrors the age of our students, right? For the same reason that we're taking students from an alternative pathway, right? From an adult school and not a traditional high school. And so in any given year, our median age tends to fluctuate between 34 and 35 years of age as well. So I think we're very aligned there. And, you know, myself as the executive director of Upward Scholars, I'm fully looking forward to embracing more cultural diversity and linguistic diversity as part of our Upward Scholar student population. So thank you for sharing that as well, Midhun. And let's see, it looks like our next question here is for Diana. And so Diana, the question is, how has Upward Scholars impacted your professional aspirations? Or maybe people want to know, what are your future goals? What's next for Diana Viscarra?
Definitely they impacted a lot. So at first, I don't even think in go beyond the English, the ESL and learning English. But with the support of our scholars, I decided to go beyond that. So I started with a paralegal program. Then I went into the political science field. Now I have in mind to continue with my master. And we'll see, maybe later I can also decide it for the doctorate. But yeah, definitely it just opened my vision to see that it's possible to go for more, right, than just English. But I understand not all the students have that goal right now, but definitely they can change their mind in their way.
Absolutely. You know, I've said to Diana privately and to my team privately, but one of my goals, and I'll make it public and it's going on record here, is that one day I want to see Diana Viscarra, and it makes me so emotional, become executive director of Upward Scholars. And for me, I think that would be like a dream fulfilled. So definitely working on trying to, you know, give her as many opportunities as she can have to continue to prepare for that role. So I thank everybody in the community, right, who has been helping and encouraging Diana on this journey. Like she said, she's had 3 or 4 different job titles, and you know, since she joined us in the middle of 2019, and there's more to come. So thank you, Diana. You're such a role model to not only your daughters and the students, but to me personally as well. So such a joy.
Thank you, Linda. And that's what inspired me most, like to be that role model, not only for my daughters, but also for my community and other students in that position where I started. Thanks.
And I see so many great comments in the chat. I want to lift one of them, which is from our founder, Elizabeth Wheel, who is here today with us. And she says, this is so exciting. Congratulations to everyone who made this happen. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for making the time to be with us today. It was so lovely to get to safely meet with you a couple of weeks ago and to have you formally meet everybody on this new team in person for the first time, to have us all together. So I hope that we are continuing to make you proud, and thank you so much for continuing to believe in us. And if there are, another question, how is locating an office coming? Thank you so much for that question. So Upward Scholars, as some of you may know, we used to have temporary housing in Redwood City, and during the pandemic, we unfortunately lost that housing. It was temporary, but we hoped that it would be longer term. So we are looking for a new home, although to be very honest, with this new expansion into Alameda County, we've it's lessened in the priority because we really want to focus on nurturing this new relationship and bringing in more students. But it's something that is still like, I would love, right, in my dream of dreams would be to have a permanent home in Redwood City, in the North Forks community, maybe in the new development happening in Middlefield Road. Anybody out there listening who has contacts, please let me know. You know, I would love, I envision a more of a community center, maybe even than just an office space, right? Where we could provide potentially even short-term housing to our students, where we could just have maybe more than one level, right? I just have all these dreams and ideas, but the search officially is on hold currently, and we are all working remotely, doing the best that we can. But thank you so much for that question. Any others? Any other comments from any other panelists? Anything else that's come up for you as we've been talking and sharing today? I like, Samsul, that you've already made a connection there with Akshay in the chat. So wonderful to see that as well. One more career choice for you to pursue. And lots of love I see heading out to everybody. So wonderful. Well, maybe what we can do then, we can even wrap up a little early. I knew I had committed to not going past 4:45, so I think we're getting really close. Maybe the team behind the scenes, if you can remove the spotlight from us and allow us to see everybody who has their camera on or who is willing to turn on their camera. This is a nice opportunity to see who all has been here. As I've been looking in the chat and presenting, I haven't necessarily been able to see everybody's faces. So I would love it if we could do that. I still see myself spotlit. Let's see. Maybe it's just my own view. If I can see no, I'm not able to see everybody. It might be my setup for some reason, but I hope everybody can see everybody. Maybe we can, yeah, I tried pressing and it's not working on my computer. That's okay, but if everybody else can see one another, then I'm super happy. And if anybody would like to take themselves off of mute, or maybe we could take everybody off of mute as a sort of closing overall. Thank you again for not only carving out the time to be with us, everyone who's on the call, but also for supporting us in the different ways that you do, right? Whether it's financially, whether it's with your talents, it's your time as volunteers, right? All of that is always super needed and super appreciated. But yeah, let's take everybody off of mute if we can and sort of close out.
Thank you, Linda. This was really interesting, and I appreciate all the panelists and guests as well. Did a great job.
Thank you so much, Erica.
Yep.
Balvina, were you going to say something?
I want to say thank you to everyone who works on Upward Scholars to support our students. It's really challenges for us to be part of this program. Thank you for the support you give to us.
Thank you
And
so
I
much.
want to shout out, thank you to Elizabeth Will, who was the person who encouraged me to continue.
Yes, and I know she's here. Elizabeth, would you like to make some comments?
I just can say, wow, I think this is the most exciting thing. And the fact that Linda has grown this organization so quickly, and then that not only is it available to people here, but also expanding our geographic reach so that so many more students will have these opportunities. So it's a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's amazing when I think about, you know, we've been at 3 community colleges now, and now we're like more than doubling by adding on 4 additional community colleges, right? For a total of 7 community colleges. And so we look forward to, yeah, Laney College, Merritt College, and the College of Alameda also beginning to send students our way. And we'll keep you all updated on that as well. Thank you so much. Oh, it's so nice to see a lot of faces I recognize on here too.
Akshay has his hand up. Also, Lupita would like to make a comment as well.
Okay, so let's go with Akshay, who has his hand up, and then Lupita right after. Thank you.
Yeah, I consider myself a long-term resident of Alameda, so I was super excited that you guys are expanding to Alameda. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes. And hope to do more of that. Lupita, where are you?
Dr. Alinta, I would like to say thank you very much for all the staff and all these people who's volunteer and support, like us and change our life. This is really packed for, for our lives. And also, it's like I would say we increase our community and other people to continue with education. And I know it's hard, but it's like, work hard and play hard. Thank you very much for your support. All of them people do, donate the time and the money. That means a lot for us, like as students. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lupita. I really appreciate you sharing that. I know it takes a lot to get on the spot and speak up. Joe, I see you have your hand up as well. So glad to have you with us.
Yes, hi. Yeah, I appreciate the this particular forum to explain what I consider a major improvement in the system going across the bay. That's a big jump. So this was a good forum to get people who can talk about that. And so I appreciate that. So
Thank you so much. And you've been such a longtime supporter of our work. So I really appreciate you carving out the time to be here today as well.
Well, it's great to be here.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Zari.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all. And
oh no, I think Zari.
Juniors and so kind and generous and help all of these immigrant students to continue education. Without your support and your help, I couldn't continue my education. And I appreciate your kindness. And I'm so thank you so much for all of your generous support. And you give me encourage me and you give me motivation to continue my education. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Zari. So lovely to see you. Oh my gosh.
So
I send you my best. Thank you so much.
Thank you
So I know that we are now officially over time, but I want to invite anybody who would like to stay. We're happy to stay a few more minutes. We understand if anybody needs to jump off the call as well, but I see Elvira has her hand up, and then Jonathan, if we can go in that order.
Yeah.
Sure, thank you. Hi, sister. I just wanted to let everybody know how important it is for me to be able to be in this space with you and to see the work of my sister and of her amazing team. I always think of the work that we do as children of immigrants as an extension of our family. And so it's really beautiful for me to see that our family keeps growing. And so that from Stanford to the East Bay to all the places that our folks are at, it's siento un orgullo. I'm so proud and I'm so grateful. And I just want to congratulate you all and welcome to our beautiful and growing family.
Thank you so much, sister. I love that you're here with us, and I love all the support that you provide. Also, behind the scenes, a lot of emotional support and always the great shout outs on the chat. So thank you for joining us. Jonathan, how about you?
So on behalf of Sequoia Adult School, I just want to thank Upward Scholars for their years of partnership and support of all of our students at our school. I know the expansion has been sort of a thing coming for a while, and I'm just so happy to hear everything that's been happening with the North Alameda Consortium as well too. Actually, just from being part of the San Mateo County Consortium, I always hear really good things that are happening from that consortium as well too. So I'm happy you were able to make that connection, and happy to hear about more exciting things coming in the future.
Thank you, Jonathan. So great to have you on as director of the Sequoia Adult School, and to continue to be able to work closely with your team and bringing, keeping that pipeline alive, right, from the Sequoia Adult School to Cañada College. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anyone else? I see Martha, you're off mute. I don't know if that means you would like to make a few comments.
Well, I've really enjoyed hearing from all of you and from the students especially, but you've put together a wonderful team. It's so impressive. So congratulations on the expansion. It sounds like you've got a terrific partner at the Berkeley City College.
Yes, thank you so much, Martha. I appreciate it. And also thank you for your behind the scenes support with new contacts also in the East Bay when it comes to media. So I really appreciate that well. And I do want to give a shout out to one of our our newest employee who I know was coming from another job. So he was on here, came on a little bit late, but his name is Elias. He's on the call with us. He's been working with us part-time since mid-January. And I hope it's okay, Elias, for me to go ahead and share, although the offer letter is still en route, that Elias will be joining us full-time, ideally as of March 15th. And so super excited. He is another current student in the program, like Diana was when she first started, like Marta is who started with us. Now Marta started with us last February and just celebrated her first year anniversary with us on the team. So Elias, welcome in this new role and new capacity to Upward Scholars. Would you like to say something, Elias?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm very excited working with you. He's very excited. I am happy.
Thank you. We are so happy as well. Our hearts are full, and I know you're supporting Jessica so much behind the scenes with our social media. So thank you for bringing your talents and your interests to our Upward Scholars family. And when I first, heard of Elias speaking at one of our monthly Pláticas Entre Familia, he came to actually an in-person one we had in November. I just looked over at Jessica and we looked at each other and I was like, oh my gosh, passing her notes. Like we've got to get this guy on our team somehow as soon as possible. He came to us also from the Sequoia Adult School. So Jonathan, you probably recognize him. And we're just so thrilled to be able to help you leave that job where you were washing dishes to now coming on full-time with us and to help you with your economic mobility as well. Thank you so much, Elias. And Erica didn't mention earlier as she was commenting, but she is our board chair and president. So I did want to give her a little shout out for that. I see we have other board members who are on the call as well, and other great friends who I see maybe more at our conversation club, like Mike. Mike, I see you're taking yourself off of mute. I didn't know if you wanted to share some words as well. It would be great to hear from you.
It's a very nice, warm family of people. I'm glad to be part of it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mike. That means a lot to me. And let's see. I saw Anuj was on here from our board. Anuj, are you still here? Would you like to make any comments?
Yeah, I'm here. No, it's always a great renewing moment whenever we have these meetings. You really get to hear from students, which is, it never disappoints to hear stories from our own students. So congratulations to everybody. We're so excited to partner in the East Bay now, but with all the new students we'll see there, and of course our own students over here. So great event.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Anuj, for allowing me to put you on the spot there. The last person I'll put on the spot maybe is Miguel, because Miguel is actually married to one of our students who was in the program with us. I hope I don't get the college wrong. I think she was at Skyline College, Alma. And then unfortunately during the pandemic got forced out of San Mateo County, like many of our students who couldn't afford to live here anymore. So Alma and her family moved all the way down to San Diego, but we've continued supporting her during this time. And now this is her husband's first semester in the program. Miguel, if there's anything that you'd like to say, Miguel, we're so happy to have you with us all the way from San Diego.
Thank you so much. And wanting to go back one day, whenever we are able to. I just want to say thank you. You have been so supportive of our family. I mean, there are no words. I cannot say anything because you have been so kind, and I just want to say thank you. My gratitude that's just overwhelming. I just don't know what to say, really. So that's it.
That's perfect. That's perfect, Miguel. And please give our best to Alma. Actually, I'm not done calling out on people because now I went to my second page and I see there's a lot of other beautiful faces on the second page too, including one of our board members who looks like he belongs in Mana, Rodrigo. If you don't mind taking yourself, and that's a compliment, taking yourself off of mute and saying hello as well.
Hello, Linda. Thank you. Lovely to spend the afternoon listening to these awesome stories and to be a part of it. And it's just amazing to hear the changed lives through education. So thank you. And glad to be here.
Thank you, Rodrigo, one of our newer board members. So happy to have you with us this afternoon as well. And I see some more comments in the chat. Thank you, thank you. I hope folks have enjoyed the interpretation services as well. And let's call it a wrap. How's that? Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for being with us. Stay in touch. Lots of love and kisses to all of you. Muchísimas gracias.